Hook. You're not going to believe this. Imagine coming home one evening to find that the very people who were supposed to protect your neighborhood, your HOA, had hired biker thugs to intimidate your family. That's exactly what happened to me. My wife, terrified and alone, called me in tears as leather-clad strangers banged on our door, threatening her to keep quiet about the board's corruption. But here's the part they never expected. 3 minutes later, those same thugs were the ones knocking on my door. Only this time, they were begging you to make it stop. And trust me, by the end of this story, you'll understand why. It started like any other Thursday evening. My wife, Anna, had just finished setting the table when she heard the rumble of motorcycles outside. At first, she thought it was just some kids revving their engines in the street. But then the noise grew louder, closer. Before she could even peek out the window, the pounding on the front door began. "Open up!" One of them barked. His voice was gravelly, mean, the kind of sound that makes your heart race even before you know what's going on. Anna froze. She clutched the phone in her hand and whispered to me, her voice shaking, "There are men outside. They're wearing jackets, chains. I think they're bikers." I was still at work, 20 minutes away, but in that moment, I swear I felt my chest cave in. My wife, the gentlest soul I know, was standing alone in our house while strangers tried to intimidate her. And here's the kicker. I knew exactly why they were there. For weeks, I had been pushing back against the HOA board. They were draining funds, charging bogus fees, and punishing families who dared to question them. I had gathered evidence. Bank statements, shady invoices, even a whistleblower on the inside. And the board, they hated me for it. But to send bikers to scare my wife, that was crossing a line they would regret. On the other side of the door, one of the men growled, "Tell your husband to back off. Or next time, it won't just be a visit." Anna, her hands trembling, told them, "You need to leave. Now." She tried to sound firm, but I know her voice cracked with fear. The pounding continued. "You got 3 days!" Another shouted before the engines roared to life and the street finally went silent. When I got home, Anna was curled up on the couch, eyes red from crying. She looked up at me and whispered, "What are we going to do?" I held her tight, but deep down, I already knew the answer. I wasn't going to hide. I was going to fight back. The very next morning, I made some calls. You see, I wasn't just some ordinary homeowner. What the HOA and their hired muscle didn't know was that before settling into suburban life, I spent 15 years in the military, special operations. I'd faced warlords, cartels, and mercenaries who made these bikers look like children playing dress-up. So when I say I knew how to handle intimidation, I mean it. That night, I waited. I left the porch light on, curtains open, an invitation they couldn't resist. And right on cue, the engines came again. 3 bikes, same men, same sneers. Only this time, when they knocked, I opened the door myself. Their leader, a stocky guy with tattoos creeping up his neck, smirked. "You the hero who thinks he can mess with the OA." I didn't answer. I just stepped forward. Close enough for him to see that I wasn't afraid. I let the silence stretch, the kind that makes even tough men second-guess themselves. Then I said, calmly, "You've got 3 seconds to get off my property." After that, I stopped playing nice. Something shifted in their eyes. See, bullies thrive on fear, but when you take that away, when you stare them down without blinking, they crumble. And crumble they did. The leader glanced at his crew, then back at me. "We don't want no trouble, man. We were just paid to send a message." "Then here's my message," I said. "Tell your employers that if they ever come near my wife again, I'll expose every dirty secret I've got on them. And believe me, I've got enough to burn their empire to the ground." The bravado drained from their faces. The toughest one actually stepped back, rubbing the back of his neck like a scolded child. Then, to my surprise, the leader actually said, all right, just please, don't make us go back empty-handed." 3 minutes. That's all it took for the hunters to become the hunted. When the bikers finally retreated, my wife came to the door. She looked at me, wide-eyed, and for the first time in days, she smiled. Not because the danger was gone, but because she knew we had faced it together. The very next week, the HOA president resigned. My evidence hit the community like wildfire, and neighbors, who once stayed silent, finally spoke out. Families stood united, the board crumbled, and the so-called enforcers disappeared for good. Final note: inspiring message. Here's the things: intimidation only works when people stay silent. But the moment you stand up, the moment you refuse to bow, the power shifts. My wife and I learned something that day. Not just about courage, but about community. When people unite against corruption, no amount of fear can keep them down. And as for those bikers, they walked away not because I threatened them, but because deep down, they realized something. You can't scare a man who has nothing left to lose. Especially when he's protecting the person he loves most.